Hi guys, my name is Kim,
And I'm Abby.
and this is
Calabasas.
Cultura. Hi Abby, how are you?
Hey Kim, I'm good. How are you?
Girl, I am stressing. I am so excited for this episode today, but as much as I'm excited, your girl is terrified. Um our topic today is super spooky scary. Doing the research, I was biting my fingernails, and so right now I was like, I'm gonna get comfortable. I have all my cats around me, like a little protection. I got my blanket, I got my mushroom. I'm like, we gonna self-soothe during this. Abby, what are we talking about today?
We're talking about shadow people, and specifically, I'm talking about the Waverly Hills Sanatorium, and then some Reddit stories from people who went there. And we have some pictures too of the shadow people. It's gonna be so fun. I'm so excited.
I'm talking about haunted houses. So more
Yep.
specifically, the Sallie House, and also Reddit stories based on haunted houses, apartments, and possible shadow people sightings. Yeah, like we are so witchy, and we are like we talked about this last night of the whole like fuck around and find out kind of vibe of like we engage in practices for the sake of learning and growing, and so it's like yeah, cool, we're learning about these things, but damn, like I am a punk when it comes to stuff like this. So I am very excited to like chat about it and understand it more. But I'm also like, okay, like I have all my protection candles on.
They're
I'm like, all right,
cuddling.
like, yeah. Oh, they are. Oh my gosh. Oh, look at that pretty little girl. Yeah, she's gonna have to
Oh,
protect me right now. Um but yeah, so I want to preface this with we're going to be talking about some spooky, scary things. We're going to be talking about different haunted spaces and darker energy. So just prefacing with that's kind of what our episode is going to be about today. It's super entertaining, it's super informative, but it is also scary. So protect
yeah, and
yourself.
with all like, I mean, haunted stuff and heavy energy stuff, it comes with like sadness, like and
Yeah.
bad situations happening. So like trigger warning for suicide, trigger
Yes.
warning for like abuse in
Yeah.
the sanatorium for real for me.
Yeah,
And yeah,
absolutely.
and just death in general.
Awesome. Let's get started. Abby, do you want to start?
Yeah, I'll start with the history of Waverly Hills Sanatorium first. I want to go here so bad. It seems so fun.
Yeah.
I want to like establish. Oh, I don't know if they offer like if you can stay the night, but I know you can for sure tour it. But in the early 1900s, Jefferson County was stricken with an outbreak of tuberculosis. Many of these cases in Louisville, Kentucky at the time were centralized along the wetlands of the Ohio River. Moist, humid environment was a perfect breeding ground for the tuberculosis bacteria. To try and contain the disease, a two-story wooden sanatorium was opened, which featured open-air pavilions, each housing 20 patients for the treatment of early cases. As the need for more space grew, the city of Louisville began to prepare to build a new Louisville City Hospital, and the hospital commissioners decided in their plan that there would be no provision in the new city hospital for the administration of tuberculosis patients, which prompted the Board of Tuberculosis to hold a hospital especially for the care of advanced cases in pulmonary tuberculosis. Because of the high contagious nature of the disease, Waverly Hills Sanatorium enacted extreme quarantine measures, and the asylum functioned as an island, producing its own food, raising its own animals, and even ran a functioning post office. That's crazy to me.
It was its
That's
own little
like actually
town.
insane. Yeah.
Yeah, it was its own
Which
little
is
town. That's
like, I
crazy.
mean, I feel like that can like that's a little like, bro. So like, I mean,
It was
slave
such a
labor.
space of isolation. Yeah, and it
Yeah.
was a space of such deep isolation.
Tunnels were built on the first floor of the sanatorium and were used as an entrance and exit for the staff of the asylum. 500 feet of corridors lined the asylum, once only meant for work or travel, ended up being used to transport corpses of the dead from inside the asylum, since the sight of the dead being carried away lowered patient morale. Like they cared about that, really. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Doctors at the
Yep.
asylum also believed that using the tunnels would help lower the disease spreading rate. The sanatorium had more than a couple plans laid out for its future after its closure in June of 1961. Y'all got plans after that? Please. Anyway, such as apartment homes, a geriatric center, and even a prison. I would love to have an apartment there. Oh my god. Like what? What?
Girl.
I'm kidding. Kidding. Sarcasm.
Yeah, I would be like, I would never visit.
Mm-mm. But today, the sanatorium is owned by a private investor who opens the building up for tours and overnight guests. Okay, yeah. So yeah, I want to stay the night. The tours also aim to preserve the history of the asylum, telling stories of the patients who died there. I think that is so cool. And I want to go again. I want to go.
I would do the tour with you. I would definitely do the tour with you. See, like,
Imagine staying the night. I wonder how much it is.
I prefer hotel.
That's
I'm
real.
okay.
Hmm.
Like, and a nice deep cleanse after the tour. I don't need to be
So
sleeping and wake up to the creeper.
yeah, well, and also like I just couldn't imagine having that being an apartment building.
Yeah.
And to put in perspective how many people came in and out of there, nearly 50,000 people died at the sanatorium.
Mm.
50,000. And then the dead were transported out of the hospital using a 537-foot long tunnel that led straight to Dixie Highway. Countless haunted stories have come out of the sanatorium, including one about a nurse who completed suicide there, as well as a young boy named Tim. Shadow figures, disembodied screams, and laughs, as well as full body apparitions, were also reported by visitors and staff. In 2001, Charles and Tina Mattingly purchased the property and began to restore it. Volunteers soon started to have their own encounters. I would guess. I mean, if you're doing
Yeah.
construction in there,
Yeah,
telling a
because you're
slamming door.
changing things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yes,
You're
slamming
changing things, and a
doors.
lot of spirits don't like that.
And sightings of a mysterious man in white drifting around the halls of the hospital. That sounds like a doctor.
Yep.
Interesting. Others had run-ins with Tim, a boy that likes to play ball with visitors. And we'll talk about Tim later. The most disturbing entity is known as the Creeper. The Creeper does not seem to be human, but rather a large shadow figure that has been spotted climbing the walls of the ceiling of the fourth floor.
Uh, uh,
That's that is what interests me the most is the Creeper because I get a visceral
girl.
reaction like from that, like literally.
My body
And
gets so tense.
okay, well, we're gonna make it a little more tense because we're gonna talk about that. Okay, side note. Okay, the Creeper, like that, I feel like is a whole nother level of shadow figure than you're to like Tim. Like, you know what I mean? Tim was like a boy, but the Creeper, like, okay, is it demonic? Is it like
Ugh.
heavy Fey energy, dark Fey
Yeah.
energy? Like, what could it be? Like, you know what I mean? I feel
Yeah.
like people are
And
so quick
there's
to call something like that demonic, but like, I feel like it could be so many other things too. Not saying that
but
it's
also
not demonic, but
yeah. But
like
also, like,
define
if we think
demonic.
about shadow figures and shadow people, like, there's so many different interpretations within different cultures. So,
Yep,
like, people think of them
exactly.
as, like, jinn
Jinn,
or
yep.
demons or malicious
Yeah,
spirits or spirits that
Faye,
had a very, very, very
Nephilims, like,
painful and negative ending. Like, there's
yep.
so many interpretations of what it could
I
be,
think even a
but the
human
basis
could
of it,
evolve into something like that
yeah.
over time if
Yeah.
they're, like,
So that's what
genuinely a
I'm like,
monster.
it's like there are spirits that are considered like filled with malice or filled with a whole bunch of rage or like
Mhm,
ones that have like there's so many different interpretations of what it could be, but the end result is that it's something that either feeds off of negativity
I agree.
or can only create and project
Yeah.
pain and negativity. And so that's why a lot of people when they connect with them or if they like ever encounter one, there's always that instilling of fear of the tension that we feel in our body because it's just what it's either that they create it to feed on it or they just project it out. But there's so many different interpretations. Either
Yeah, and I
way,
feel like it's a
no
story
thank
as
you.
old as time, like, climbing the
Yeah.
walls and ceiling of the 4th floor, like, why are they all crawling? That's
I'm so
scary.
tired
Like, how
of
do
the
y'all know?
crawling.
Are y'all in cahoots about how crawling is extra fucking scary?
It's
Like,
so
that's
fucking
gotta be
scary,
I mean, y'all
bro.
gotta be working in the same office or something, like, trying to
They
scare us
all
with
yeah,
crawling.
they
Just
literally have
don't.
monthly meetings. They have monthly meetings and like, "Yo, how
Like,
can
how
we
do
freak these
y'all
bitches out?"
know?
Ugh.
Piss me off.
Crawling is the most like, oh my god, I
But
can't.
it's very it's just interesting. But, another terrifying entity visitors are rumored to encounter at Waverly Hills is doppelgangers. These entities look precisely like their victim. Imagine seeing someone who looks just like you in the dark, decrepit hallways of Waverly Hills. Like, ooh, ooh, like, it knows you just by you oh. That reminds me of a
Imagine.
movie I just watched, and it was like they were the Watchers. Oh my gosh, it's so
Yes.
good. Have you seen that?
Yes, I watched it. I
So
watched it.
good. I
Yes.
love that
Yeah.
movie.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
And what's
If
her
I were to
name? I
see
like the
another
actors.
one of myself,
Hmm,
I'd be like,
no,
"Girl,
just take me
it's time.
out.
I'm
It's time
done."
to go.
That's when I
Yeah.
crawl into a fetal position. I'm like, "Yo,
Mm-mm.
that's it."
No. No, 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 no. Waverly Hills is filled with the sounds of the past. Auditory hauntings include screams, moans, sounds of doctors performing surgery, and relentless coughing. Children's laughter has also been heard, a chilling reminder of the young patients who perished there. That's so
Mm.
sad. Witnesses
Yeah, it's the
also felt
residual.
Witnesses also felt spirits holding their hands while walking down the hallway. Others have felt body pain as if they're experiencing the symptoms of TB or the barbaric surgeries that were once performed there. And also known this is another thing that really fascinates me, and there's a lot I've noticed, like, in my research, there's a lot of YouTube videos out there about the body
Yeah.
chute, and then there's a lot of TikToks about it, and apparently it's, like, super haunted, but also known as the death tunnel, the body chute is a route thousands of patients took out of Waverly Hills following their deaths from tuberculosis. Initially, the body chute was used to transport supplies during the construction of Waverly Hills. It is a 525-foot long tunnel with a rail car system that stretches from the bottom of the first floor of the main building and down Waverly Hill. Upon reaching the bottom of the hill, bodies would be taken for burial or cremation. Today, the body chute is considered one of the hang on, damn, tripped over my words. Today, the body chute is considered one of the sanatorium's most active areas. Covered in graffiti and debris, it immediately gives off an uneasy vibe. Ghost hunters have heard doors slamming, knocking, moaning, and strange lights appearing in the tunnel's blackness. Others have reported a strong feeling of being watched. So, Timmy, as promised, the little boy ghost. I love Timmy. Oh my God. So he is probably the best known ghost residing at Waverly Hills. He's a boy named Timmy O'Shea. He lived in the children's pavilion while his parents were being treated for stage 3 tuberculosis. Timmy would often play ball with other children on the roof of the sanatorium, but one day Timmy fell off the roof and died.
Oh,
Yeah, so sad. A police investigation determined that it was an accident, but there are rumors that he had been pushed by a man standing near him at the time of the fall. Over the years, people have brought balls for Timmy to play with. In certain instances, these balls appear to move on their own or roll back to the person who threw them, as if Timmy continues to play with the gifts. Oh, that was crazy.
oh.
Yeah, poor
I love that
Timmy.
people still dedicate some time to like get gifts and things. 'Cause I think that is also so important because like we can't always assume like there's that huge assumption also because like in our like pop culture and stuff, like all these horror movies about ghosts and all these different things. And I think there's a
Mhm.
balance in everything that we do. There are energies that are negative, there are energies that are malicious, but there's also energy that is they're lost and they need help and they're lonely and they don't know what it looks like to release and all of these different things. So I think it's so
Yeah.
cool that they still created an opportunity to like get toys for him and to
Yeah, I
play
think
with
that's sweet.
him, you know, like, that's so cool, that's so
I would do the
cool.
same thing. But, I have some Reddit stories about Waverly Hills, and these are absolutely insane. Like, way more insane than anything I've read so far. So, this is by Shadow Person 502, and they worked at the Waverly Hills Sanatorium. They said, "I've worked as a volunteer at the Waverly Hills Sanatorium, and I've been on many tours and investigations. I'll start by saying this. It doesn't matter who you are or what your beliefs are. Things happen in that building that are not explainable. I've seen people get possessed, and I've had something attempt to take control of me as well. Yeah. I've heard voices with nobody around. I've smelled cigars when nobody was smoking. I've been pushed up against a wall, seen a doppelganger, watched inanimate objects move on their own. The most impressive thing to me is when I was doing an overnight investigation with two small groups in the building. I walked down to where the restrooms were whilst my significant other cousin and his wife were standing on the fourth floor along with a couple of people from my other group. My significant other is a complete non-believer. She refuses to accept anything as being paranormal. When I walked back up to the fourth floor, they weren't there. I ended up finding all of them on the second floor shaking. After I had walked downstairs, they all saw the same exact thing at the same time. Keep in mind, a couple of them are total strangers. They all saw a very large black shadow move towards them in the hallway, as well as a smaller shadow come crawling on the floor rapidly. My significant other, who doesn't believe, was in tears. None of the people in that group would go back to the fourth floor. It really is something to take a total skeptic and let them see something so unexplainable for themselves. The fact that multiple people saw it, yeah, yeah.
My thing now, how are you still volunteering there after saying that you were almost taking control of?
Mhm.
Like, you saw possessions and felt like you were
Like,
about
what
to be
the fuck,
possessed
bro? That's
yourself,
me as hell,
and then you were
actually.
like, "Let me go home, take like, sleep this off, and I'll be back in the morning." Like,
That's literally me.
I commend you because as soon as if I feel an ink, I'm like, "Yep, that's it. I'm done. I'm putting my
Mhm.
resignation starting today. I'm out. Thank you." I also think
Crazy.
it's crazy how multiple people saw this. Like, it wasn't just like one. Like, to have that validation and confirmation of like that just happened, right? Like,
Mhm.
no, thank you.
Literally.
No,
Like,
thank
all them
you.
people are backing you up.
No, thank you.
So, now we have a photo that Kimmy is gonna put, and we're gonna put the unzoomed in one in first while I read a little bit. She didn't really say much, but, let's see. So, the name of this person is Gemini Hunt. It says, "Hi. So I was having a conversation with a friend about paranormal experiences. I was explaining how a group of us went and did a tour at the Waverly Hills Sanatorium back in March of 2022 and sent him a picture that I captured that I believe is of an entity. I've never really shared it on the internet, but he said I should post it here. The picture is what I saw originally captured. The second is when I zoomed in after I saw it. So, like, they were like, "What the freak?" And then they zoomed in, and you can, like, see it clear as day. Like, a
Did you
head,
already send it to me?
shoulders.
Because now I want to
Yeah,
look at it. Ah!
yeah,
Ah!
yeah. Mm.
Why did I do that? Oh my
And think about
gosh.
it, 50,000 people died there. Like, think about how many for real spirits are in there. Like, whether it be residual or, like, stuff.
That is a full formed
Yeah,
apparition.
100%. There's no doubt in
That
my
is
mind that
a,
that's
I
what that
can't even
is.
look at it anymore. That is a full formed apparition.
Ophelia is totally unbothered. Like, she's like, "I'm used to this. It's fine."
This girl, yeah, she's like, mom does this every other weekend. Like, that girl's
Her
done.
so cute.
Oh, those paws. Yeah, girl, you gonna have to sleep with me tonight because oh my god, that is a full like you see the full form.
Mhm.
Holy, oh my
So,
gosh.
here's where another group saw something, multiple people again. Like, I'm searching for, like, the good stuff on Reddit. It was not hard to search for the good stuff on Waverly Hills. There's so much. I don't think that I've ever like, I love listening to podcasts, especially, like, Two Girls, One Ghost, about, like, what they talk about, and I feel like the Waverly Hills Sanatorium is probably on my
Yeah.
top 5,
Yeah,
like, of wanting to go
absolutely.
to, have to go. I wanna go to the, Bell Witch Cave too, so bad. In Tennessee, oh
Girl,
my god.
absolutely not. That one, I will have to be
Absolutely,
like,
yes.
I will FaceTime you as you're there. The Waverly Hills
Oh my
Sanatorium, I will go
goodness.
with you. I will go. Bellwood, no, no. I know my
Girl, it'd be
place.
fun.
I know my place. Mm-mm.
Okay, well, here's another story. This was posted 2 years ago from My Soul Must Be Iron. They said, "I went with a group of people around 15 years ago. We sat in a spot either on the second or third floor, just getting ready for an EVP session. I look down the hall and I'm trying to figure out where the shadows are coming from. They were actually in the dark spaces between the doorways. Other people are like, 'You see something?' Then they look and see them too. Three human-shaped black masses, darker than the no-light areas between the doorways. Different heights, and the one in the middle is lightly swaying side to side." That's nightmare fuel, actually. I do not like that at all. That's where I kinda draw the line. We are all in disbelief as we are confirming everyone is seeing the same thing. Then they start getting closer, not walking, but glitching closer. Like a strobe light,
Oh,
bitch. Fuck no.
like, I could just imagine the lights flickering with them too, and then just
I don't even know what I would choose, fight or flight, I'm not sure.
I would just sit there.
Freeze.
I would
Yeah,
freeze. I would freeze.
possibly. Yeah.
Yeah, I would
They're
go full possum.
they're in one spot, then closer by a few feet in an instant. Middle shadow still swaying. God, that's a tongue twister. Middle shadow still swaying. Shock
You
and
got
awe.
it.
We watched him getting closer until they were uncomfortably close and made the decision to get the hell out of there. There was a lot of activity that happened around us, some of it personal to who it happened to. Some we all experienced. Shadow people definitely exist here. That's crazy. And then that same
All I'm
person, they
thinking
said
about
do it.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Okay, that same person said the other group thing that happened to a few of us was at the end of the hallway. There's the surgery room and a large room across from it. There was absolutely nothing in the large room, so I walk out by myself and head towards the surgery room. I turn to see of the others if the others are coming, and they are headed for the doorway out. As soon as they started walking, there was the sound of a large metal cabinet door slamming hard. The room is absolutely empty. They all looked at each other and then a quick glance at the room, like, "What was that?" Then screaming and running out as fast as possible over to me. It was absolutely crazy. That's crazy. Okay, here's another one by Goldie Beth 2 years ago. I went to the daytime historic daytime, bro. Daytime. Imagine going at night if this is during the day.
Girl,
I went to
imagine
the
going
da
at the during the witching hour.
No, no. I had an experience last night. No, 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 no. I don't like that,
You
no.
did have an experience last night. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, we'll talk about that another time.
Yeah.
Anyway.
No,
Anyway,
thank you.
so Goldie Best said 2 years ago, "I went to the daytime historical tour of Waverly Hills on March 10th, 2024, and had a horrifying experience. I was listening to the tour guide from the second floor sun porch. There was a big group of people and I was leaning against the wall. Suddenly, I felt like something punched me hard in the stomach. I felt as if I were blacking out. I slid down the wall onto the floor, then I threw up. Nothing like this ever happened to me before. The employee asked me if I could continue for the tour, but I felt too weak. I had to be picked up and walked down the stairs. They found me a chair, some peppermints, and a bottle of water. Then they left me alone. You're not leaving me alone after that. I
I
was
will be like, I need
feeling,
somebody with me 24/7.
yeah,
I don't know what you're talking
yeah.
about.
I was feeling better physically, but I felt like I was being watched. I just wanted to leave, so I went searching for someone to unlock the doors to let me out. I found myself in a hallway, which was long and dark. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to find nobody to help me out, bro.
I'm
Parking it
gonna
right there
scream
and
out the
hollering.
top of my lungs, I need
Yeah,
out.
I'm gonna sit there and holler in the chair that they put me in. Cause bitch, fuck y'all. I ain't gonna find nothing and finding myself in a long and dark hallway,
In
even
a
though it was mid
dark
afternoon.
hallway
She said,
by myself. I don't care. I don't care. It could be
"Ain't
the
no
fucking
light
ass
coming
crack
in."
of fucking dawn.
Oh my god.
Huh.
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god. And then it says, if y'all think it couldn't get any worse, I haven't even read this part yet. I felt very alone until a deep, growly voice yelled, "Maggie." Blech. Trigger
And
warning
that's when
Philip
I would
sounds.
again throw up and fall to the ground. That's when I'm
That
like,
sent
I'm
me
done. I'm done.
that's
I'm done.
that sent me scrambling to the gift shop where I found a woman to let me out. Girl, why ain't you go there first? I felt
You
100%
were
better when
too
I stepped
brave, baby.
outside and drove 200 miles without incident. 200 miles. You do it 200 miles. Da, da, da.
Said your name, bro.
Girl, oh my goodness. Actual insanity.
Like, they were like, "I
So
want you to be by yourself when I do this to you."
okay. 2 years ago, Aggressive Cold 6886 said, my first trip had me a little eager to begin, but after an hour into the trip, it just seemed like I was getting a run through of a historical landmark with a few creepy stories about the place. The tour guides are indeed great storytellers, but they also have some pretty cool photo evidence they don't share online that they will show you while you walk around the place. That's really cool.
I would
It
wanna see
wasn't
that.
yeah, it wasn't until we got to the floor that they didn't allow you to have lights turned on. Huh? That I really started questioning what I was seeing. Ugh. For context, apparently the dark floor has aggressive spirits that will attack you if you provoke them. I saw shadow figures here and there, human shaped figures walking around the halls from afar. In your head, your first thought would be they could easily have people who walk around the place pretending to be ghosts. I promise whatever my tour group was seeing were not real people. And they will even offer you to walk down the hall alone while others watch as your silhouette changes shape and appears to be morphing with these shadow beings. Hello? Almost like watching a busy hospital floor, but if someone turned the lights off. Ugh!
Girl,
I'm weak.
I
Okay.
would I would have an asthma attack,
And
okay?
this person says the first trip wasn't enough to me. Enough. I'm shook. The first trip wasn't enough for me to make my own conclusion, but it was compelling. It wasn't?
That wasn't enough.
Even as
Literally seeing
someone who like fully believes, I'm a skeptic.
that would be more than
That
enough.
first trip would be enough.
That would be more than enough.
Anyway, I had to go back again. My second trip was my first full body apparition encounter, which occurred while walking up to the dark floor. This time I had decided to hang near the back of the tour group to converse with the tour guide in hopes of keeping my distance from the others and maybe be able to see more unexplainable stuff. And my strategy worked indeed. While talking about the history of Waverly, the group of people had made its way to the next floor without me or the tour guide in the back. We stood at the bottom of the stairs, following slowly behind. Before turning to walk up the stairs is when I had noticed another person in my peripheral, standing in the doorway behind the tour guide. I looked over her shoulder to make eye contact with the person, but oddly enough, it was as if my eyes could not focus on whoever was standing there, almost like looking through a pair of prescription glasses that aren't yours. What I could tell was that the being appeared to be shorter, blonde, and in a hospital gown. As I stared at it, the thing began to walk behind the door frame and out of view. A common theme I seem to have with my paranormal experiences is that the anomalies always look blurry. Even if everything around appears to be crystal clear, the thing my eyes are trying to focus on stays blurry. I feel that. Your brain knows it's there, but it's as if whatever you are seeing is on a different plane of existence and you are peering through a
Mhm.
foggy window. That's so real.
See, I wonder how, like, the tour guides, like, if they've become desensitized to all of
Mhm.
this, or if it's
Yeah.
always I wonder if going and then, like, something happens, if the like, you know how, like,
Yeah.
what are they called? The people who, thingy in planes? The stewards and
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
stewardesses?
flight
Like, I
attendants.
wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah, the flight attendants. I wonder if it's similar to flight attendants of, like, when there's a lot of turbulence, they have to stay calm even if they're
Yeah,
terrified. Or, like, cause I
probably.
feel like if I'm there and doing a tour and if the tour guides are scared, I'm gonna be like, "Yes, this is how we die. I need
Yeah.
you to stay calm, even if you're not calm, because I will literally die right here, right now."
Yeah.
Ugh,
Okay. It They go on to say, keep in mind the three experiences I'm sharing with you are just the most prominent of each trip, not the only thing that had happened to me. Anyways, on the third trip, I had my encounter with a
okay.
being the workers called the Creeper. Yeah, apparently this entity is known for climbing up walls and jumping onto people. While on the first floor and still daylight out, again, I was walking in the back of the group towards the stairs to the next floor when I had suddenly felt something really cold rush up onto my shoulder, like a gust of winter wind. The tour guide walking beside me jumped a bit away from me in fear before I reacted. But when I turned my head towards the cool air, I found myself face to face with a black mass looming over my shoulder, inches away from my face. I could make out one of the most sinister smiles and a pair of eye sockets with no eyeballs in them locked
Oh
onto
my
me.
gosh.
This was the first time I vocalized my fear while on one of these tours. I gave out a loud shriek as a grown man. Everyone in front of us jolted around to look at me. There was a couple of gasps and confused looks from the strangers as the being darted away into nothingness. People immediately confirming what I saw felt pretty good, reassuring me it wasn't just my eyes playing tricks on me, and they had seen the being on my shoulder as well. Yeah.
It was like, "Hey, this is your 3rd time. 3rd time's the charm.
Mhm.
Like, you wanna come back?" Oh my gosh. Oh my
Well,
gosh. It
yep, and
reminds me
that's where
of
we wrap it
the
up for Waverly Sanatorium, but that's not I have a
ugh.
couple more from Appalachia. Crazy, right?
Okay, I'm ready.
Okay. So
I'm ready.
the first one is from Reddit, and it's from a deleted account 2 years ago. And they said, "Have any of you seen what I call shadow walkers?" Hello, all. I've never really posted before, so sorry if this doesn't belong, but I've had some experiences in my early childhood that I would like some clarity on. I grew up in the heart of the Appalachian Mountains in West Virginia in the mid 2000s. I lived in a little house on top of the mountain with no neighbors. This is important context wise. And I spent most of my time outside playing in the forest that was my backyard. Some of my earliest memories involve seeing what many people call shadow people. Although these were only outside and never aggressive, they would walk behind trees and would appear or materialize, but they never just appear. They would only emerge or disappear behind trees. I began to bring them little things like jacks and bouncy balls or acorns because I thought they were my friends. Oh. After I
Mm.
began me as fuck. After I began doing this, they
Yo,
began to
deadass.
appear. Yeah, they began to appear more frequently, and I would come close and would come closer to me. They wouldn't ever get any closer though than roughly 15 feet away, and when they did, we would have what used to call dance parties. Any movement I would make, they would directly copy. If I waved, they waved. If I jumped, they
Oh.
jumped. So I would run around and dance, and
Yeah,
they
they're
would
trying to
also dance.
steal your idea and your identity.
It
They're
gives me
like, "How do you
the
move? I
walkers
wanna learn how you
vibes.
move."
It gives me the walkers vibes. So that's why I'm like, in the walkers, they were like fae. Like it makes me feel like shadow people like could be fae. Some of them that aren't humans.
Honestly,
You know what I'm saying?
honestly,
Yeah.
honestly.
Or humans. What if when they die they turn into fae? Ah, we don't fucking know.
We don't
Some
fucking
of
know.
them, like you know what I mean. What if it's a fucking choice? Anyway, okay. This is why I'm confused because I never felt a danger with these entities either. I always got a very neutral or warm feeling around them. This is why my feel like something just touched my arm sharp. Maybe it was like a little nerve or something. I don't know.
Girl, nope, we're just gonna call it a nerve. We're just gonna call it a nerve. It was
Yeah,
just a
it
nerve.
was.
It was just
Okay.
the wind. Nope. Okay, let's keep going.
The wind in my closed car with my windows up. Yes.
Nope,
This
it
is
was the wind, bitch.
yes. This is why I'm confused because whenever I Google shadow people, they always mention dark feelings and experiences when that was not the case for me. I should also mention that physically these creatures were just human, like silhouettes, both male and female. Crazy. Yeah.
It was like Peter Pan.
Like, holy
They
cow.
just they probably
And
they
they're
probably while they
fairies
were walking in the
too.
forest. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They probably walked into a fey trap.
Yeah, probably. And
And
then,
and they
okay.
were giving gifts too. They were giving gifts.
Yeah. Insane. Yeah, and, like, dancing, like, that is a gift in itself.
Mm,
Yeah.
Don't walk into Fey Trap, people. And if you see something, don't offer gifts, okay? Not yet.
Mm-mm.
Learn about it, because sometimes offering gifts means offering your soul.
Way to fear way to instill the fear, Kenny. Hell yeah.
I'm so sorry. I'm
Yeah, you
sorry.
gotta be
I'm
careful.
in. Okay.
That's what Kimmy's here for, to instill the fear. I'm here to tell you, fuck around, find out, bitch. Go ahead.
Yeah, and
Why
I'm
not?
here to tell you no. Oh gosh.
Mhm.
Okay. All
Do
right.
both. Why
All
not?
right.
Okay, so next
Ugh.
is a story from a listener that they submitted for us, and it's pretty long. It's really good. Oh my gosh, let's get into it. Okay, this story is from S, and I'm not gonna say like exactly where they live, but they live in Appalachia too. So here we go. When I was somewhere between the age of 19 and 20, a friend of mine had died, and then also trigger warning, talks of suicide and stuff. A friend of mine had died via suicide, and I was at the beginning of my journey spiritually, learning about working and whatnot. And this friend's mother was mentoring both me and her daughter, who had come to live with her after the death of her son. And at the time, I was staying with him quite often. And one of the things that I did was I would stay with her daughter. I would help clean up and I would help make sure that dinner was ready when she got home. Her daughter had only met my friend, which was her brother, maybe once or twice in her entire life. And it was a point of hurt and unfinished business for her. And so, because of that, when we got my friend's remains back and they were placed on the coffee table, his sister kept insisting that she wanted to do a seance. She wanted to be able to talk to him. You get to know him to get to actually probably say goodbye, things like that. Her husband was adamant that we do not do that. Not only were we both super new, but because he died in the ways that he had. She said that if he was at peace, we needed to leave him
Let
at
him
peace,
him.
he and that if he didn't die in such a way that nothing good would come from meeting him. Anyways, so that night she was at work. She was going to be at work later than usual, and my friend's sisters, let's call it Amy, decided she was going to do this no matter what her mother said, whether I helped or not. I told her that her mother said no, that this probably wasn't a good reason for it, no matter what. It was in the middle of summer in Florida, and at the time we were all living and staying in a double wide trailer, and she gets out a candle and she says, I don't need your help to connect with my brother. So she lights the candle. She uses her blood because she figured that that was the connection that she has to him. I believe like I stepped out to do the laundry or something. I came back to find the candle lit. She had added the blood to the candle and then put her hand on the remains of my friend. And I came in, but it was too late. She had already done the summoning. Right about the time I had gotten to where she was to try and stop it, the entire room goes cold, and it's so cold that we can see our breath in front of us and the light in the room changes. It is not dark, but it is full of just this haze that the light is dim and we can barely see around us. Then we didn't so much see anything right away, but we did hear what sounded like claws clawing and scraping, sliding down, coming from the entrance of the trailer. And then what we saw was this shadow like humanoid, not figure. It drug itself using its hands, whose fingers were long and did not have a face, and I don't remember if it had legs or not, but I don't think so. And it came into the room. Both Amy and I had this immediate feeling of danger, just like just kind of like when you're walking in the woods and you suddenly come across a bear or a mountain lion. It has the same feeling, just innate we were in danger. It started calling its way toward us, dragging its body along the floor. Amy says that she couldn't see it, but I could, and she takes off towards her bedroom because we cannot leave the thing is literally between us and the only entrance or exit I think great because her bedroom was the only place in the entire trailer that didn't have any light, and at least we were in here where I could see it was, but I was the adult in the situation, and I knew that I couldn't leave her by herself, and in the moment, I guess, intuition or whatever, I grabbed the salt, and I take off into the other room. I get into the room, and she is on her bed as far back into the corner against the wall as she can get, and I go over, and I can hear the things coming down the hall behind me, and I get on the bed, and I pour salt on the bottom of the bed. Amy holds up against the corner and starts shoving on my back, pushing me towards the edge of the bed, and all I can think is, "We are in this situation because of you. I'm in here trying to keep you safe, and I know
Amy
you're
was trying
not
to
over here."
sacrifice us.
Yeah, and I know you're not over here trying to sacrifice me to this thing, but I mean, she's crying, she's shaking so hard, um the thing is entering the room. I can barely see it coming across the floor, and in that moment, Amy says, "My mom was right. I shouldn't have done this. I don't understand why my brother is coming after me like this." He must have been in so much pain, and I fear the situation immediately turns to anger because her brother was one of the kindest people I've ever met. He was the kind that would make sure no one around him would hurt or scared. So I immediately start saying, "You cannot come up. You cannot come any further." At this point, we could hear it at the bottom of the bed, and we could hear it pause almost like it was looking around, and then we can hear and feel scraping at the bottom of the bed, almost like it was clawing at the legs, trying to come up. And I just kept repeating, "You can come no further." So I start telling Amy while still muttering, "You cannot come up. You have to tell it to leave. You brought it here. I need you to tell it to leave." So she starts murmuring, "You have to leave," in between crying. And I said, "This thing is impersonating your brother. You thought you were getting a connection. You need to get angry and you need to get out of my house. And you have to leave. You can't be here. You're not welcome." It's right about that time it stops, the scratching stops, it disappears into the hall, and it starts to get hot again. Neither of us moved from the bed, but felt like forever, but was probably only a few minutes later. Her mother came up through the front door, and we can hear her stop, and she comes down the hallway very slowly. There were puncture marks all over the walls, in the carpet, all down the hall, and when we got up off the bed, we saw that there were deep roots in the seat, in the legs of her bed, in the wood where it had been flying. Once her mom came and asked what happened, Amy got up and went over to her sobbing, telling her what happened. She recounted the whole thing, telling her about how I saved us. I went and I told her my part of the story, what I experienced, and it was a lesson to not use blood for summoning if you can help it, and to always make sure that you have protection up before doing any kind of spiritual work, which we both should have done. It shaped my caution when working with spirits or things of that nature. I learned at the very beginning what can happen if you are not thorough with what you do and how you communicate. That was her story. That was a lot.
What the fuck is with crawling?
Yeah, I don't know. I do not know.
I Oh my gosh, the literal nausea
Gives me
that comes from
the ick
ugh,
bad.
disgusting. Um, that's so sad because, like, like at the end of the day, the intention was really just to connect with her brother and like to just
Yeah,
have that goodbye. And so just the fact that it was taken advantage of, that's so sad. And
mhm.
I hope that the reason why he couldn't connect is because he was in a better place and because he released his burdens and all of these different things. But like that's crazy. That's
Yeah,
crazy how
yeah.
easy something can just turn so quickly.
Mm,
I'm sorry, S, you about to be sacrificed.
crazy. Yeah, for real.
Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, no shame. I can't lie, I'd probably be the same way.
I'm gonna push you out.
Yeah.
I'm like, girl, but it's like, what's
Mm,
gonna happen when you're sacrificed? They're not gonna stop being hungry. So now that we talked about shadow people, we are gonna talk a little bit about some haunted houses and haunted spaces. Um, So I chose the Sallie House. And this is in Atchison, Kansas, which I think it's funny that we all like chose like parts of like the South. Is Kansas in the South?
no. Oh, you did good, baby
Um,
girl.
never
I
mind.
think that's the Midwest. You
Okay,
I
so
ain't
like
nowhere near
it might
Kansas, baby. You closer to Kansas than I am.
oops. Oopsies. Okay, never mind.
That's so
So I
funny.
chose the Sallie House and that was in Atchison, Kansas. And so the Sallie House was built between 1867 and 1871 by Michael Finley.
Ooh,
Right? It was a long ass time ago. And when he passed away, his son, Dr. Charles Finney, or not Finley, it's Finney, sorry, he took over. And so Dr. Charles was a physician. And since it was a two-story house, or like almost like a two-family home, the front portion of the house he used for his practice, and the rest was used for his family. And so all of this started because of a child named Sallie. Sallie and her mom came in for pain, and what Dr. Charles found was she was suffering from appendicitis.
mm,
And so he attempted to save her, and it was really unfortunate. Trigger warning, there's going to be talk of death and a very tragic death, I would have to say. So I would skip the next 45 seconds just in case. Um, so Dr. Charles attempted to save her from this appendicitis and he gave her anesthetics. But because he saw how dire the situation was, he began to perform surgery while the anesthetics was still trying to run through her system. So this little girl felt all of the pain that came with this
Mm.
surgery. And she ended up still passing away due to complications and due to her appendix bursting. So now we're going to move forward about 100 years. And this is in 1992 with the Pickman family. So it's Deborah and Tony Pickman. They purchased this house. Deborah was pregnant. She was about to have a baby. And everything was super chill, super fine for a few months. It was nothing crazy. And then all of a sudden, they started getting lights flickering, lights shutting out, timers turning on randomly. But very specifically, their pet dog would bark and growl at the nursery
Mm.
or the would-be nursery. Bitch, if my dog was growling at a nursery all the
Mm-mm.
time,
That's
obviously
not gonna be
something's
the
going on.
nursery.
That's not anything. That's gonna be closed,
Mm.
locked, bolted. So now the baby is born. And this is where they start to see a lot more activity in the house. So once the baby was born, they would put the baby to sleep and walk out, or they would take the baby. Either way, like there was a transition. And when they would come back in, all of the toys and teddy bears that were in the bassinet were on the floor in one solid line. They would go, they would pick it up, they would put it back, and they would
This
turn the
sounds
light
so
off. They would,
familiar. I
mm-hmm,
think I
they
heard
would
this
walk.
story.
It's crazy. They would walk down the stairs and the light would flicker. So they would go back and all of the toys and everything would go back in a line, specifically one teddy bear. They would fix it again. And then the next time, there would be a teddy bear sitting right in the center of the room. And so this was something that they noticed and it was very consistent. It would happen back to back. And so once this started to happen, they entrusted a psychic named Barbara from California. Okay, I love psychics. I love mediums. I
Me too.
mean, we are practitioners ourselves. But in moments like this, it reminds me why it's so important to not only trust your discernment, but find multiple people and multiple spaces. Because
Yeah.
this psychic spoke about a child named Sallie the child was 5 to 13 and it was innocent and it was sweet and don't worry, just give her just give her some love, just say hello, blah 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 blah. And so as the psychic was doing this reading for the house, Tony started to research into the past owners. And when he spoke to the past previous owners, they had the same experiences. They
Oh.
had younger children, and these children would be playing with who they thought was their imaginary friend. And when the parents would ask, like, who are you playing with? They would say Sallie. So after they had this conversation with the psychic, there became more physical interactions.
Mm.
Tony's brother George, he came to take a picture of the bear because the bear would literally the bear would move from location to location. And so they would come and they would see the bear in the middle of the living room. So George would try to take a picture of the bear. And so what he said, he would say, cheese, Sallie. And as he's attempting to take a picture, the bear lifts, levitates, and turns to look at him.
Oh
Yeah.
my
And
god.
so George is like, I'm about to shit my pants. He starts screaming to Tony. Tony is trying to get to him. George is trying to run. And all of a sudden, his body freezes and he can't move and he can't speak for a good couple seconds. And then finally, he was able to run. And as George was running out of the house and as Tony was getting the baby to run out of the house, Tony felt a significant pain in his back. And when they finally got in the car, George checked and Tony had 3 large scratches on his back and it was bleeding. Yeah. And so they connected with
Oh my
Barbara
god.
again, the psychic. And the psychic was like, oh my gosh, just you got it. She's getting jealous. You have to include her more in things. Like you have to play with her. Like she's harmless. She didn't mean to. She's anxious. Like she doesn't really like men, blah, 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 blah. And so this is where Deborah, the wife, is starting to get very, very attached to Sallie. And
Oh,
so she bought
shit.
her a doll, and the doll began moving around the house too. And Deborah felt more maternal towards her. Like she was like, this is now my child too. And she became very
Mm.
protective. Tony is feeling the exact opposite. He's feeling like something is wrong. And so as Deborah's connecting and feeling more maternal and more protective, Tony is starting to get random whispers in his ears that are
Mm.
gradually becoming louder and more violent and more anxious. And he's starting to hear scratches inside of the wall and nibbling on his toes. And when he spoke to his wife about it, his wife was like, no, 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 she's just messing with you. She's just playing with you. Like, you need to stop. Like, calm down. You're fine.
But I don't wanna be
Bitch,
played
it
with.
gets worse. Bitch, it gets worse. So they have this dinner party, and so they have their friends come over, and they're sitting at the dinner table, and all of the friends just stop laughing and stare at Tony because Tony starts having blood coming down his forehead and a huge scratch in the middle of his
What the
forehead that
fuck?
came out of nowhere. And again, he's trying to talk to his wife like something is wrong. And she's like, no, no, nothing is wrong. She's perfect, blah, blah, blah. Like she is almost obsessive over her. Then, hold on, I gotta get comfortable. Tony started having bad dreams. And there was one dream of him being dragged out of his bed around the
Mm.
house. And when he would wake up, he would have blisters all around his ankle in the shape of a small child's hand.
Oh,
And
hell
then,
no.
yeah, bitch. And then he was introduced to an older woman spirit in the house, and she was a bully. And so she would wake Tony up by strangling him and telling him how she's gonna kill him. And so all of these things are happening, and he's telling his wife, like, I gotta go. Like, there's something wrong. We need to leave this place. We need to sell this place. Oh my God, I'm getting like anxious talking about it, but it's true. And Deborah's like, no, 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 no. We're staying. That's it. Like, she's my child now. And it wasn't until the baby started to become attacked. And so they would wake up in the middle of the night to the baby
Oh, fuck
screaming
no.
in pain. Yep. Screaming in pain. And then there were things in the nursery that would randomly catch on fire. And it would be lamps, candles, and
Oh
even
my
bears
god.
that would get caught on fire. And so this is when they decided, all right, we have to get out of here. Like something
Yeah.
is wrong. We have to go. And Deborah, it took her a long time to be like, okay, let's do this. So this is when they started to have investigations. And so all these private investigators and paranormal investigators will come in. And on the first night, they had Tony go with them. And in that first night, they documented 11 separate attacks on Tony. So like
Oh my
scratching, pushing
god.
him around, and then they saw a scratch become it's an MC, and they assumed and inferred that it was Michael Crewman Finney, which was the one who built the house. My cat just made a noise, and I was like, and then they brought dogs in, guide dogs, to help sense things out. And none of the dogs wanted to go into the nursery. All of them would begin whimpering, barking, growling, and they did not want to step foot, even if they would try to give him treats. Mm-hmm. So then the final straw, this was the space where they finally were like, okay, enough is enough. Another psychic came to cleanse the house, and Deborah, still in this space of like, this is my child, she was like, protect Sallie, don't let her leave, keep her there. And so as the psychic is cleansing, Tony ends up with 3 or 8 deep scratches to the point he needs stitches on his body. And then the voices were louder, and it was so loud that it made him kill a cat, and he was trying to tell him to kill his wife. And then the final thing was its attempt to try to push Tony down the stairs. And so finally they were like, yes, we have to go. Like, so they decided to move. And at first they couldn't move because they couldn't afford it. But they were like, this is too, it's gone on for too long. So they moved. And so after all of these investigations, they found that there was Sallie, but there was also an old woman, an old man, unsuspecting spirits, and some type of very evil, dark energy. And they had the inference or the hypothesis that this evil energy would take advantage of all these other spirits and present as them to try to gain sympathy and to attempt to possess. And so they felt like they were attempting to possess Tony and trap Deborah, and which is why Deborah was so obsessive over protecting
Mm.
Sallie, because that would ultimately protect all the others. And so now this is a place where you can go visit, you can stay the night, you can do investigations, but they have very strict rules that you cannot do any type of seance or any cleanse of the home. And they're very strict on it. Like, you come in, you can monitor, but you cannot do any kind of
Yeah.
practicing of any way because it will end up angering those spirits. Bitch, I read this and I was like, this is why child spirits are so fucking terrifying. Terrifying. Haunted
Yeah, they
houses are
really
real.
are.
So I'm going to read some Reddit stories about haunted houses, but I'm going to talk a little bit about my own first. So, Abby, you already know my house growing up, like my family's house growing up, is hella haunted.
Uh-uh.
And it's not like the Casper the Friendly Ghost haunted. It's like multiple spirits and a lot of loss has happened in the house. So, the house has been there for a very long time. Like, I believe it was like in the 1700s, 1800s that this
Oh,
house
fuck. I
that
didn't
was
know that.
built. And like, as my parents were remodeling and stuff, they would find letters in the wall, jewelry, like baby blankets and
Mm.
all these different things. And so like, there's a lot of history and there was a lot of life in the house.
Yeah.
As a kid, I would see shadow people. I would see things move. There, like, curtains would move and open on its own, doors would move
Mm.
and open on its own, close on its own. Like, there was a lot of different things. And there was one instance where I was going downstairs to go to the bathroom, and when I opened the door, the light was off, but it looked like someone was in the shower, like laying in the tub. And so I thought it was my sister. So I was
That's
like,
my
oh, sorry,
biggest
I closed
fear.
the
Fuck
door.
that.
Bitch. I closed the door. I was like, thought it was my sister. I was like, it's weird. Her light's off. I don't know why the light would be off while
Mm-mm.
is she taking a fucking nap? Go in the kitchen. All of my family is in there. And I'm just like, who the fuck was in the shower then? And there were
Mm-mm.
instances where we would be in the family room and that there's a lot of energy in the family room. Like, you would see shadows in the ceiling, like you would wake up to people poking you or like you feel like poking. Um we had like a little closet in the living room, like a little wardrobe, and sometimes it would just creak open and creak closed by itself.
Oh.
You would hear your name behind you. Like, yeah,
Mm-mm.
it was one of those things where like it's like you ignore it and act like it doesn't exist. It's gonna be fine. It never went away. Like, it was just something that was
Yeah.
there. You
Yeah.
would get like really scary, all these different things. And so like I was accustomed to living in that home, and it wasn't until like I left that house I started to notice how dark it really is.
Yeah.
Um and so I don't spend the night there unless I really have to and unless other people are there. So now let's talk about other scary stories and other haunted houses. Um so I have a few Reddit stories. Some of them are a bit long, but it was like they're really, really terrifying. And so the first one is Excuse Ya, and this was about a year and a half ago. Basically, I was awoken out of bed around 3:45 a.m. on a school night. No particular reason for being awakened, but I was really thirsty. Right outside of my bedroom door, we had a closet in the hallway to the left. It was right outside my door, and we usually kept blankets, towels, sheets, etc. in there. Prior to stepping out of the bedroom door, I remember looking in the mirror at myself for a few seconds just to make sure I wasn't dreaming. I've heard many times if you're lucid dreaming or something like that, you're not supposed to look in a mirror. By then, I was confident that I was conscious. I even remember pulling my phone out to check the time and use the flashlight because obviously we had all the lights off in the house. After standing in the mirror, I clearly remember looking down to the knob, then pulling my head back up to see into the hallway. Before I even get to pull my other arm to use the light, I see a pure black, tall, 6 foot to 7 foot figure with the only
Mm.
identifiable feature as is its eyes, glaring, slightly white with no pupils. It feels like I was
Oh.
stuck for a second, like frozen in fear as I'm staring at this thing right in front of me, only harshly like 2 to 3 feet away from me. Whatever it was seemed to be looking in that closet door because when I made eye contact, it slightly turned its head as if it was searching for something before seeing me.
Hell
This is
no.
bitch. This is what made me believe at first I may have had sleep paralysis experience because I've heard you can't exactly move when this is happening. My other conclusion was that I witnessed a break-in. My breath grew heavier as I slowly took a step back and closed my door, locking it almost instantly. I remember being way too freaked out to go right back to bed, so I stood at my door for literally about 20 minutes before doing anything else, just putting my ear to the door to hear anything. Shortly after those minutes of standing by my door, I gained the confidence. Hold on. I gained the confidence to take another look. Surely nothing was there. I walked out to the kitchen as well to finally get my glass of water, and everything felt normal again. I truly believed I witnessed something I wasn't supposed to see, but at the same time, I've always tried to think as realistically as I can. If it was a person, they easily could have been spooked and left never seeing me. Not wanting to leave any evidence, they left everything untouched and everything untraced. But as I stated before I went to go check the kitchen as well as any windows, nothing looked messed with. I believe it was all in the interaction we had. The hardest part for me to follow is exactly why I froze and felt like I couldn't do anything. Their gaze itself felt like it was holding me there, not letting me turn my head or say anything. It was as if a person I could have easily yelled at and my folks would have woken up and witnessed as well. I would have realized it was a break-in and alerted for help, but the entire 20 seconds of us staring at each other, I just stayed there. Something about this entity wanted me to stay calm and collect, almost as
Mm,
if it was trying to calm me down telepathically. To this day, I lose sleep and wonder if I was dreaming or if this whole thing was real. I remember vividly so much that it's hard to dismiss as being anything normal. Imagine seeing a 7-foot thing right in front of you and just being, calm
no.
down. You're okay. You're fine.
No.
I'll be like,
That make it worse for me.
I would not go to the kitchen and get water. I would be like, I
Uh-uh.
am going to be in my room until the sun comes up. No, thank
Mhm.
you. Or I'll
Mhm.
be tucking tail and run into my mom's room. Mom, mom, I flew up. Like, mom, I'm scared. I flew up. Done. Okay. So this one is another haunted house. It's 2008. My mom and I was 8 years old at the time, are in the living room watching X-Files. It's the episode about twins. I remember it so well. You can see directly into the bedroom and bathroom I share with my younger brother, who was 4, through the foyer from the couch. The bathroom light was on, but the bedroom light was off, so it was kind of dim. All of a sudden, the hairs on my mom's entire body stood straight up. Through the doorway, there was a dark but solid figure. No feet, just seemed to move smoothly and swiftly glide from one side of the room, which was my bed, to the other side, where my brother was sleeping. Our house is over 200 years old, with high doors, 13-foot tall ceilings. The figure was large enough to block every bit of light coming from the bathroom as it moved across the room. My mom and I both looked at each other slowly, but I can tell she was waiting for my reaction. She asked if I saw it too. I was 8 and I had nightmares often. I still do, and I still live in my childhood home. We did check on my brother because, that's where the figure vanished into, and he was sleeping fine. I know for a fact I was not asleep, neither was my mom. After reading this thread, this was Haunted House and Shadow People thread, I realized that now what was happening to me as a child, terrible nightmares, paralysis, every single night. And I remember every single one. Just had one 3 nights ago. I was sitting in the dining room in the dark and something invisible threw me about 6 feet straight up with
Mm.
the speed of a car crash, then launched me across the room. Only thing I know to work is to scream as loud and as hard as possible in my dream, and then I will scream guttural cries from my throat in real life and wake myself up. It's a terrible feeling to be trapped somewhere else.
Mm. Oh my god.
Mitch. Okay. Agent 7 for haunted houses and shadow people. This was 13 years ago.
Hmm.
I've seen 2 shadow people in my life, and both times freaked me the fuck out. The first time I was at my grandmother's house, sitting in the back bedroom, which we referred to as the Nintendo room. My grandma had an old Nintendo with a ton of games. Anyways, I'm sitting there playing a game, and I got that don't look behind you kind of feeling. I stand up to look behind me, and in the room behind me, there stood what looked like a tattered black bathrobe floating in the air. The crazy part was, and it's still very vivid in my mind today, was how dark the blackness was. It was like staring into a can of black paint, and the light creeping in
What?
from the shutters seemed to be absorbed by it. I just stood there frozen, thinking, what the absolute fuck is that? And then it started floating towards me, and I ran like a bat out of hell into the kitchen to tell my grandmother what I saw. And when we went back there, it was gone. The other time was at my parents' house. It was late at night, and I'm watching telly. All the lights are off in the living room, so at this time. So I'm watching TV, and I see movement in the dark out of the corner of my eye. In the hallway by the bathroom, there stood what looked like a black outline of a man in a raincoat and a hat.
Yeah.
It just stood there like it was watching me. I remember it when it
The
looked
Hat
up. It had
Man.
very faint red eyes, which were very unnerving. I
It's
kept
giving
it in
Hat
my
Man.
line of sight and reached for the lamp behind me. As soon as I pulled the cord, it vanished.
Oh my god.
So this is the last one. So I live with my stepmom, dad, little sister, and brother. There's always been weird, unexplained noises, shadows, and the feeling of being watched here. But this takes the cake. It all started with just random noises and weird sounds that progressively got worse. The first signs were shadows that you catch with the side of your eye with no one being there. Then weirder things like hearing something climb up my bunk bed ladder and my bed bouncing like someone hopped in.
Oh,
But today when I, yeah, bitch. But today when I got off of work, there was only me and my little brother's truck at home. We had a loud stereo in our room, and we jam it loud when no one is home. Anyway, he was the only one there, so I thought. So I get out of work, see his truck, and think, oh, I guess he's home, but he wasn't. When I get close to the house, I could hear the stereo real loud, but couldn't make out the song. When I touched the door to open it, I could feel the door rattling from the base. As soon as I unlocked the door and opened it, it was dead silent, and our room door was open. So I'm scared as fuck at this point. I slowly walk into our room, and as I'm standing in the hallway, there's no one there. I laugh and say, yo, this isn't funny. Where are you? There was no answer, just silence. I then went to step in my room, and right when my foot picked up, my door slammed, scaring the shit out of me, pushing me into my room and
oh.
onto the floor. I get up really fast, open the door, and no one was there. I looked everywhere in the house, and there was no one there. So I called my brother and asked, yo, where are you hiding? And he said, what are you talking about? I'm at church. I rode with mom. I said, oh, I'll be there. Mind you, I hate church. No offense. I'm still thinking when I get there, he's still going to be at home hiding. But nope, when I got there, I found him, and he could tell I was scared. And he was like, what happened? I've never seen you like this. I told him, and he got white as a ghost, pun intended. He said, last night I heard a sound while you were asleep. I went to check it out and saw a little girl in the living room watching the TV that was just fuzz.
See, he just wasn't
When
gonna say
she
nothing about
That's what I said.
that.
When she saw me, she smiled real creepy and ran into a wall and disappeared.
Oh god.
So now I have no idea what to do. Everyone in the house knows it's haunted, and it's a big house, and we got it for cheap, so we can't move.
I bet
Anyway,
you
that's
did.
my story today.
Good Lord have mercy.
Ooh, the absolute being thrown
I'm
into
gonna take
your
a
room
fat
with the
nap
door
after this
slammed.
and watch. I'm gonna have a nightmare.
Yo, I'm gonna take such a nice little nap. A bitch isn't taking a nap. I'm gonna drink some water, and I don't even know. I don't even know. So that was our haunted house and shadow people story. If you have any stories like this, please send us emails, send us messages. We are at Calabasas Cultura, and we are also, if you want to email, we are calabasascultura@gmail.com. Now, Abby, what's our siren song for the day?
My siren song of the week probably is "In My Room" by Julia Wolf. I've been listening to that since, like, Thanksgiving, for real. every day, just about.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fucking vibe. I've never heard that song before.
It's so good, you like it.
Okay. Is it what is it? Is it like pop?
No, it's like, uh, kinda like alternative, I would say.
Okay. I'm gonna have to listen to
Girl,
that.
I'm not a pop girl, but I will say there
That's
is a
what I'm
pop
saying.
song
I was
that's
like,
been in my
hmm.
head.
Okay,
"Stateside"
what is
by
it?
Pink Panthers and Zara Larsson. "Stateside" is
I
so
have not
good.
listened to that one. I have
You've
not
had
listened to
to
that
heard
one.
it on
I'm not a pop
TikTok.
girl. You know what? No, I am a pop girl. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not even gonna talk shit. I am a pop
You
girl.
need to listen to
I was
that
like,
song,
nah,
it really
I'm
is
not a pop.
good.
Okay,
But you
I'm
know
gonna listen to it.
the figure skater that won the gold medal, the US figure
Yes,
skater? Yeah,
yes.
she did, a performance to that song, it was so good.
Okay, so then I feel like I do know this song.
You probably do.
I just probably just don't know the name of it. Okay, I'm gonna have to double
Yeah.
check. I would have to say my siren song of the week and the song I've been listening to over and over would have to be "Risk It All" by Bruno Mars.
I've never
I
heard
was
that.
like, girl, it's like sultry, and it's like I was listening to it and I was like, okay. Bruno Mars out here with that Latin hit. Like I was like, damn, okay. I love it. I think it's so sultry, it's so romantic.
I
And it's
love
just
stuff
like,
like
yeah,
that. I've
it's
been into, like, the old Weekend too. Like, the old week I love the
yes.
old Weekend. Like,
I'm not
Might
into the new
Not,
Wicked, I'm
that's so
sorry.
good. Might
Like,
Not is so
oh,
good.
I don't care for you. Sorry.
Mhm.
All right, let's pull some cards. I'm doing the deck I'm using today is Modern Witch Deck by Lisa Sterle. Gorgeous deck. I love that it's like a very, very thick stack of cards. I also love the inclusivity of each of the cards and just like how diverse each card is. And it really follows the like original Rider Waite, but in a more modern sense. It's
I have
like
that deck, and I forget to use it so
like
much.
yeah, Eight of Pentacles. Like instead of it just being a man just working on a tree, it is an
Mm.
individual like working on the computer doing artistry. So I love it. So let's do a collective read. Let's see. I'll try like a maximum 3 cards. What do we need to hear? What do we need to know? Damn.
Huh.
That was okay. All right. Let's get one more, please. Okay. All right. What's up on the bottom of the deck? Okay. Okay. So,
Oh, Billia.
oh,
She got comfy
honey.
again.
Yeah, she is. Look at that girl. So the cards that we got are the Ten of Wands in reverse, the Knight of Cups upright, and the Knight of Pentacles upright. So I would have to say, which is the most cliche, like once you start releasing your burdens, like things are gonna come in. But it is very there's a sincerity of learning how to let go and how to surrender. And surrendering does not have to be this really fancy, dramatic drop of the torch and whole changing of who you are. Surrendering can literally be a mission of love, and surrendering can be a really, really intentional process. And so for me, when looking at these cards, it really just it gives the awareness that release and surrender looks so different from for everyone, and it's not a one size fits all, and it's not a you do this to get this, you do this to get this. It is sincerely an act of love, and it is a process, and it's not linear. It's not step A, step B, step C. So we are in the season of change. It's a spring equinox, so we're releasing a lot of stuff to bring in this new fertile energy. The space of rest and silence is over. Now it's time for growth. So, in this new era and new season of our lives, we need to know how to do things with intention. And we need to know how to do things with love and with purpose. And so, I think it's very cool that this is our message today of like, because it is like yesterday was just a spring equinox. So, release with the intention to grow and release with the intention to do so as an act of love.
Mm, that's
Yeah, yeah.
good.
Yeah, I am so excited for this season of our lives. I'm so excited to
Mhm.
keep doing this with you guys. Please follow, share, comments, connect with us. We want to do this for a long time. We want to
Yeah.
keep entertaining. Um, but yeah, any last words, Abby?
No, that was a great reading to end this off on. That was so fun. We should
This
do
was
that more
really fun.
often.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We should do it more often after we cleanse and protect, okay?
Yeah. Yeah.
I say that, and the fucking Ten of Swords came out. No, okay, let's just put that back. Okay. Thank you. All right, this is
Calabasas.
Cultura. Bye, everybody.
Bye.